already.
Well, whoa. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Geek Pride cast. I'm your host, Matt Geary, and with me on our first podcast in about a year and a half is Peter Allison.
How you doing?
We've got Daniel Delargy.
Hiya.
John Joe Cosgrove.
Hello.
And Josh Varney.
Fucking hour we've been waiting. An hour.
Yeah, this was meant to start at sort of like 9 o'clock, but we were
Hang on. There's someone else in the chat, ain't there?
Yeah, dude.
What?
And we also have
Mark.
Mr.
Oh,
Mark
sorry.
Canty.
Yeah, sorry. Oh my God. Sorry, Mark. I think it's, you know what, I've got
Shame.
and
We're done.
Should we do that bit? Should we do that bit again? We'll do that bit again because this is through the looking glass right now. Okay, so but the thing is, when we record it, we can redo it. Sorry, Mark. It was just I haven't got. Basically, I've got the three things of us on the screen, and then you guys are off in the corner because I couldn't get it all sorted, so I missed you out. Apologies, Mark. I feel really bad now. Anyway, we'll start this again. So, you know, there we go. Okay.
Take two.
Yeah, take
Hi,
two.
everybody.
Hi, everybody. Matt Geary for the Geek Pride cast, our first podcast in about a year and a half now. I think the last one was in August of 2018. I was just about to move house. That's a very long story, which we'll go into at some other point in time. But tonight, on this podcast, and we'll start off with him, we've got Mark Canty, so I don't forget.
Greetings, Dungeoneers.
Daniel Delargy.
Hello.
Peter Ray Allison.
How you doing?
John Joe Cosgrove.
Hello, peoples.
And Joshua Varney.
Greetings, my excellent geeks.
Right, gentlemen, before we start, as this is our first podcast in a while, can somebody check to see if the audio's all right?
Audio's working fine.
Yeah. I'm just very mindful, all of this shit. So yeah, wow, it's good to be back, guys. We've got chats, we've got everything. So yeah, brilliant.
It's been a New York minute.
Yeah, but yeah. So a year and a half has gone by. We're all in isolation. What's been going on? What's been going on?
Wow, that's a good question, isn't it? I think probably like everyone else, been catching up on everything that you would normally do. You know, if you've got this active life, if you're going to work, you're meeting friends, you're having to do usual boring daytime stuff. I've probably found in the last few weeks I've completed about 7 games. I've watched through about a dozen or so TV series, and all I say is all that money I've invested in streaming services finally actually getting money's worth. My God.
What have you got there? What do you got there, Daniel?
I'm just slowly building this wall of
a freaky
geek
Pikachu.
memorabilia.
A freaky Pikachu.
Mimikyu. Yeah, it's meant to be sort of like the thing that was introduced in Sun and Moon. A friend kindly got me a coffee mug. I'm just building this so that I can say, oh God, I actually have nerd stuff. I'm validating myself.
It's like a little bit of a shopping channel, yes. As you're watching, if you like any of the merchandise you see on screen.
Oh shit, it's his, he's not getting rid of it.
Yeah, I'm renting a place at the minute. Like I said, it's been a very, very long story. But I'm currently renting a place. Most of my stuff, including my awesome gaming table, which makes me very sad, is in storage. So I've got, a couple of bookcases upstairs with some things on it, just to sort of make sure that I don't forget that I'm a nerd. And then this behind me used to be all boxes, but because I'm having to work from home a lot now, I now have my computer and stuff set up, and I thought, why, if I'm setting this up, let's get the old band back together. Let's get some podcasting going, and here we are in force. So yeah. So what else is what has everybody been up to? Give us we'll start off each one interesting thing that's happened to you since the last time we talked in August. So Daniel, we'll start with you, sir. What's happened in the last
year and a half?
One interesting thing.
I've gone back to university to get another qualification.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm doubling down on my experience because a year and a half ago I just started working at a university library. I've done various roles there now. I'm still working with them. Still am at the moment. God, I'm working from home. But I decided to double down on that, and I'm working towards a diploma, long distance, with University of Sheffield for library and information services management.
Oh, cool. Very good.
So, yeah.
Super geeky.
Lots of database stuff.
Validating all the little things you've got on your screen right there. Mr. Allison, what have you been up to, sir?
Oh, God. Well, I was at Sci-Fi Weekend, their 10th anniversary in October last year, and that was an absolute blast. And I should have been there for the 11th event this weekend.
Right.
And yeah, that's kind of not happening. Now, the Sci-Fi in the Sky, their kind of streaming thing next weekend. But really, SFW 11 is going to be postponed to next year. And yeah, it's just, damn, I should have been there rocking that party with all the geeks. But no, I'm stuck in lockdown.
Are they doing like a live thing? Or are they doing anything?
Yeah, doing a live stream. They've got like John Roberts in the Dark Room going. They've got Darth Elvis. They've got Jolly Boat. It's fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah, so check it out.
Okay, John Joe, what have you been up to, man?
Oh wow, there's actually been quite a bit, and then not much of too much interest. I'll say probably one of the more surprising ones was me and Josh. We actually went to a film screening back at the end of it was the end of November now.
End of November, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been 5 months already. Me and Josh, we went to go and see Jay and Silent Bob Reboot in London, and Mr. Kevin Smith was literally just inches away from us, and I swear at one point Josh was actually going to try and make a grab for him, but apart from
You could
apart from
smell
that,
him.
Yes, you actually could, and he smelt like weed, sweat, and tofu.
Remorse.
I think is probably remorse as well. But do you know that was quite a fun night, and that was actually the first. Sounds like it was a date, weren't it? It was actually the first time me and Josh got to meet, and it was quite a nice night. We were in the front row as well. We were right at the end. The film was really good, really funny. And even at the end of the night, everyone got to go home with some cake.
Nice.
And not only did Mr. Josh
was it special cake?
It
was cake.
It was.
Was it special cake?
Well, it was. It was basically shaped as the as like the
Quick
convenience store. Yeah, the quick stop. And it was quite a nice cake. I actually really hated Josh afterwards because it got to about nearly midnight by the time we got out of our screening. So, going on our separate ways, and me heading to the train to head home, Josh heading to his hotel, and then 10 minutes later, I see a Facebook post come up, and he's got a picture of himself with Kevin Smith. I thought, you fucker! But to be fair, Josh did present him with this baseball cap, the Flash baseball cap, and it looked pretty awesome, I will admit. And it was one of them things that even when we was venturing around Leicester Square, he had it in this clear bag, holding onto it for dear life, and it basically, you could have thought it was like a Fabergé egg or something like that. It was just pride and joy. But do you know, that was a real great night. It was a lot of fun, a lot of laughs were had, and do you know, apart from that, the only other thing I would say, Comic-Con last year, which was at LFCC, was quite enjoyable. First year since the first time I went. I actually went by myself. A few friends that I normally would go with, unfortunately couldn't make it this time round. So yeah, you do forget how much you're actually carrying around by yourself and how much you rely on your friends. Go, yeah, I'm just going to go and get someone's autograph. Can you hold on to this? And it's you're coming out with like 4 or 5 carrier bags worth of shit. You're like, Yeah, I've done it again. And the
It's like,
secret is
it's like UK Games Expo where I come back and I'm just laden with bags at the end.
yeah.
I actually brought a suitcase the second day because I was like I had to stash everything in underneath the Geek and Sun guys' tables, and I said I'm just going to bring a suitcase with me tomorrow. So I brought a suitcase with me.
I actually leave my credit card and debit card behind when I go to the UK Games Expo. Otherwise, I could just buy all of it.
Yeah, it's dangerous, man.
Oh.
Okay, moving on. Mark, what have you been up to, man?
Well, I suppose the obvious one to mention would be the fact I actually got married last year.
Oh, yes, you did,
Ooh,
sir.
mazel tov.
Congratulations. Yeah.
And I managed to sneak some geek into the wedding as well.
Go on
Because
then.
I got a friend who's a costumier. So for me and for my groomsmen, we got custom waistcoats done with Doctor Who fabric on the back, the exploding TARDISes, the
Nice.
Da Vinci style with purple facings. So the other half reluctantly admitted that I was allowed a little bit of geek.
You just didn't say where.
Well, no, it was all understanding because obviously it was all bespoke made, but it does mean that the photographer took things a little bit extra without telling her. And there's actually a really cool picture they took with us walking up with our in our suits, where they've superimposed the TARDIS over the gazebo we were walking towards. And
Oh,
she got
yes,
it.
that's
She was
true,
like,
that.
"Okay, I'll let you have that one."
Cool. And Josh, give us another thing. What you've done that's been interesting.
Apart from the Kevin Smith thing that John just talked about, that which was lifelong ambition for me, especially because obviously I'm a fan of Kevin Smith, a kind of super fan of Kevin Smith. My mum, I know this is not really geeky, but fuck it, I don't care. My mum, who lives in New Zealand, she moved out there back in 2014. She came over for Christmas last year to surprise my kids,
Oh, awesome.
and it was pretty
Nice.
cool. So we decided on a last minute, fuck it, we're not staying in Swansea for Christmas. So I went straight on to Disneyland Paris and just said, right, let's book a holiday over Christmas. Not realizing that when my mum was landing in Heathrow, we were due to be leaving for St Pancras the very next day. So as you can imagine, my mum was landing, getting the train straight to the house, dropping her shit off at the house, getting at
Back
least
to
6
St.
hours sleep, packing another suitcase, and leaving to go back to St Pancras. And she's like, for Christ's sake, Joshua, I've spent nearly 24 hours on a fucking train. I was like, Mum, welcome to my life. Then to get spending a day in London, where we basically spent most of it in the hotel, her sleeping while me, the kids, and Kirsty went out to get food. And it was quite a 7-day holiday over the Christmas period, because my mom has never been to Paris, never been to a Disneyland park ever, and for her to spend it with my kids, with the mouse and everything else at the park, she enjoyed herself, and then got really ill,
I thought you were going to say really drunk.
and she flew back home in January, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's probably just travel sickness," and it wasn't. But she's okay. She's where the family farm is in New Zealand. It's very isolated. Geary, just let you know, it says live video interrupted, but it seems to be okay now.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the farm in Whangarei is very isolated, so she's okay with the rest of the family. Other than that, I started a convention company this year.
Oh yes, you did. You did.
Oh God, yeah.
I started Trapdoor Conventions because it seemed like the ulterior evolution of what I do for a living, to kind of go, do you know what? I'm going to stick my foot into a very big pond and see who I piss off.
Reality, apparently.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's quite interesting, the amount of people who want to support and want to get involved, but then you kind of meet the people who are there to just see you fail. And it was really interesting to see how many people want to see you actually fail, and you keep track of those people and you keep your eye on those people, and it's really funny to fuck with those people as well, because you just kind of, because my grandfather used to say, feed people just enough bullshit and see what comes back to you, because then you'll find out who you can trust, who you can speak to, and who you should listen to. So this has been really educational for me. Like, really educational. And the same fact is that we were meant to be going to San Diego Comic-Con this year, and now, thank you very much, somebody weighed a fucking bat. We've got to wait until 2021, but all good things come to those who wait, and it just means we get to prep more for next year, and we can punch it out better next year, lads, because let's face it, we ain't going fucking anywhere anytime soon.
No, sadly not. Just a quick few messages. We've got John Stevenson saying good evening. Good evening, John. And Nikki Dawes says hello. So hi. Okay, so not going to be a massive structure tonight, as it is our first one in a very long time. So I think we're just going to splurge, and then we can.
What do you mean? What structure? We've never had any fucking structure.
We kind of worked with a few bits of structure, but it always sort of tails off into sort of the never-ending rabbit warren that is our minds and stuff. So.
We're like the Parks and Recreations of podcasts, yes, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I'm rewatching that at the minute. Yeah, Sarah. Evening to Sarah as well on Facebook. You guys went to see, and this is something I've wanted to talk about. But you guys went to see Kevin Smith and
yes.
Jay and Silent Bob reboot, right? Now,
yes.
I am also a massive Kevin Smith fan. I've since I was a teenager, Mallrats and Clerks were like my, they were my sort of my Bibles. They're something I would watch all the time. We would quote from them. Loved them. Loved those films. Love him. I love listening to him talk and things like that. One of the best podcasts I've heard with Kevin Smith is when he's talking to Joe Rogan about his dog. I'm sitting there in work, and he's talking him and his dogs. He's talking about his dog. Joe Rogan's talking about their dog. They're talking about their dogs dying. They're both crying their eyes out. I'm trying to hold it together and work, going trying not to think about my dog. And then amazing. I watched Jay and Silent Bob reboot, and as much as I really wanted to like it, I didn't hate it, but I wasn't as, I think, for me, it felt like it was something he just wanted to do because, he nearly died, and he just wanted to get everybody in, and he just wanted to jam as much in as nostalgia in as possible. And personally, I thought it lacked from some of his other stuff.
Hey, it's okay, Gary. You're allowed to have your opinion, even though it's fucking wrong.
When we saw this film, the one thing I was thinking, to a degree, I accept what you say, because he did basically go, right, yeah, I died nearly. Can you be in my film? That was his approach, and he did jam in more cameos than you could possibly count. You'd have to watch it about 3-4 times over to actually catch every single one. The one thing I take from his comedy is that I think over the years he has grown. He has tried to find ways to expand the initial Clerks and Mallrats vibe. If you look at the first Jay and Silent Bob one, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, to me, the first 5-10 minutes feels like Clerks. It feels like it's got that kind of vibe to it. And then after that, it just goes off on its own thing. And I kind of like that. It's a nice, refreshing way of seeing a filmmaker, if they're happy to take something that they know works for them, but then just go, yeah, Joe, we've had this pretty straightforward, pretty linear, pretty much, set in reality story. And then they do Jay and Silent Bob. It's like, yeah, every fucking thing that can happen, it will happen now. And I like it. And
do you know what it was? Do you know what it was for me? It was, I felt that his character, I felt like Silent Bob overacted in a way. It was like, and I know you can't overact when you're not saying very much, but it was like his facial expressions and his sort of what he does, his sort of like slapstick comedy, that his thing. It felt like it was over-egged slightly, whereas in previous films there were small little bits where Silent Bob would do something, or there would be something where it's him. But because obviously, and I understand why he's done it, because he's obviously, because of his, his near-death experience and stuff, and so he wanted to have a bit more of him in it. it just felt sort of. It was hard to explain, and like I said, I didn't hate it. I just don't think it's one of his best films, and I wouldn't say I was disappointed. I just didn't come away with it like, you know, it wasn't super memorable to me, like say Mallrats or Clerks, or even, you know, Clerks 2. Or something like that, you know, that for me, I can remember things. There's quotes and stuff. Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I loved all the cameos. It was good to see all these people and stuff. And his daughter is a really good actress. Really, I think she's really good. But it just felt lacking in certain ways.
The way with Silent Bob, especially with Kevin Smith, the way he portrays Silent Bob, I've always felt that Silent Bob is both Abbott and Costello and Groucho Marx in one character, basically. And I think he kind of just wanted to push the boundaries of Silent Bob to the most he could in Reboot, because it wasn't really Jay and Silent Bob. It was more Jay and his daughter, and Silent Bob was just kind of, once again, where he should be, hanging out in the background. But I'm guessing that obviously his writing wanted to push Silent Bob a little bit closer to the camera these days as it is. I enjoyed Reboot because, you know, it's been nearly 15 years since we saw Jay and Silent Bob actually on the big screen from Strike Back and Clerks 2, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. I thought the slapstick humor was there, the over exaggeration was there.
It had every what's the word? It had every hallmark of a Kevin Smith film.
Of a Kevin Smith film, yeah.
It's just that I think he sort of, it felt not rushed, but he sort of jammed a lot of stuff in, and there was, I don't know, it just, when I just didn't get that feeling. And I'm really easy to please when it comes to films and stuff, you know. I'm very easy to please. It's just, it didn't, you know, I think I'm maybe a bit more picky when it comes to stuff when I grew up on. So Star Wars I'm very picky about, you know, Lord of the Rings, and obviously, you know, Kevin Smith films, because, you know, I've been there since the very beginning, but yeah. It's just sort of, I just didn't fully feel it. I didn't, like I said, I didn't hate it. I just felt like, you know, he was overacting in his facial expressions and stuff. And I think Jay, as much as I quite liked the dynamic with him and Harley Quinn, you know, it just, I just, there was something lacking for me. There was just something not there, you know, and I can't explain it to you other than I just didn't get it fully.
If Kevin had basically retired now from doing any more of his films, I think he could stand back and say, you know, you could be very proud of Reboot, because it was something to, especially after the heart attack, you know, meeting his, you know, his in town fate, and pushing through the fact is, right, he got Ben Affleck back, so that's an achievement in its fucking self. You know, he was able to
because they fell out.
They fell out big time, yeah. And you know, he got funding from you know, everywhere, especially the guys at Legion M, who I'm an investor with. And you know, this was a Saban Brands film, so you're talking about the guys who gave us fucking Power Rangers, gave us Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So you kind of thank God they could have gone, you know, a lot worse than it actually did. But now we're getting Twilight of the Mallrats, and you know, I'm thoroughly excited about that.
Do you think, is that going to be a prequel?
No, this will be a
continuation.
Okay.
And then apparently 2022, Clerks 3, as long as he doesn't piss off anyone else, you know.
And I'm finally hoping to see Moose Jaws.
Oh,
Moose Jaws.
I really want to see Moose Jaws. Yes,
he's like the third of his like obscure trilogy that he was putting together.
I saw what was it? Is it Vulgar? The one that he did where it's got the guy who plays Dante Hicks and Gil Hicks, and he's like a clown. And it's, well, I think it might be one of Scott Mosier's first films. Like that's like, and Kevin Smith does a bit of a cameo in it. I think it's called Vulgar. Pretty sure.
Vulgar.
Yeah, Vulgar. Yeah, and That's pretty obscure. Nobody generally sees
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Quick shout out to MJE420 on Twitch. How's it going, buddy?
But with most of Kevin's obscure films, I mean, if you look at Red States and I can't believe I'm actually saying this out loud, but Tusk, you kind of see how far his psyche can go, because yoga hoses, I basically put on yoga hoses as background noise if I'm drawing or if I'm doing anything else, like, I don't know, cleaning. So yeah, putting yoga hoses aside in Tusk, Red State is fantastic.
I was just going to say, in terms of the like talking about films, if we go from like Kevin Smith, just trying to think. During this lockdown, I've been trying to think of a certain director whose films I just want to go for. I just want to go through their back catalogue. I want to, maybe see films that I haven't seen theirs before, and maybe experience all the big ones, but also maybe see the ones that people might not have been as happy about. The one I've been thinking the most, I really want to revisit all of, is Steven Spielberg. Mainly because if you look at his range of films, I can't think of many other directors that have really done such a wide array. He's done like sci-fi, he's done action, he's done a little bit of comedy, he's done drama. There's been like historical epics. It's just unbelievable what he can actually create, what he does put out into the world. So actually, guys, that's a good point. Out of all of you, because I will promise I will watch these, and even I'll tell you what I'll even do. I'll do it on Geek Pride. I'll actually do a little mini review of each of them. You can all name me one Steven Spielberg film each, and I'll promise to watch them in the next 2 weeks.
Can I go first?
Go on.
Hook.
I really wanted someone to say Hook. Yep,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's done. I love
Because
Hook.
a lot of people, and for some reason, I when looking back and doing sort of like a little bit of fun research into it, just to have a look at all the bits and pieces, there's all this sort of like not so much disdain, but there's all this negativity regarding it, and I remember it as just sort of like just a fun Peter Pan adventure with Robin Williams.
I love Hook.
I liked Hook. I thought that was a good film. No,
Yeah, and just was it Dustin Hoffman?
Yes.
Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook. Come on, that is just.
and Robin
Yes.
Williams as
Robin Williams. Smee.
Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh shit! Gwyneth Paltrow was in it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was the guy. She was the one who gets put in the boo box.
Yeah.
Glenn Close.
Mm.
I think she had a cameo in it as well at some point.
Yep.
Maggie Smith.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
There is just
yeah.
such a high caliber of actors when you look at this film, and I love that idea.
Bangarang.
Bangarang.
Rufio!
It's the food fight.
Rufio, yeah.
It's the food fight. It's amazing. It's where he just sort of kind of he just goes, he gets the spoon and he just kind of flicks it. I can't remember what exactly he says. He says go and he does something. He
Suck at
flicks
a dead dog's nose.
Yeah, that's it. And then he flicks it and it just, you're doing it, Peter. You're doing it.
And Dante Basco, just the guy went on to do Zuko, and
Actually, Dan, while you were talking about it, because you mentioned Hook, have you seen the Bangarang short film that Dante Basco made a few years ago?
no, I haven't.
You should watch it. It is actually really good. It's quite heartfelt and a little bit upsetting as well, but it does make for a good watch. I won't say any more about it, but look it up. It's called Bangarang.
Mm.
It is definitely good. Right, so Daniel's giving me Hook to
pick.
go with. Go on.
Just because I love the book. Ready Player One.
I haven't seen Ready Player One yet, so that is definitely going on the list.
It's good.
Really?
It's not.
I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It's not the book.
Yeah, it's not the book. It's not the book, but I think it does well with what it's got
Yeah.
because there's obviously licensing issues, and they
Yeah.
can't do it. But in the books, there's a lot more sort of in the book, whereas I think it does a good job explaining.
It does.
Yeah, it does a good job.
It's the classic book adaptation dictomy, though. You have to take it as it is,
Yeah,
rather than trying to expect you're going to see the whole book splurged in front of you for 8 hours on the screen.
because everybody seems to forget the fact is that it's a film based on a book. And because of the success of Ready Player One, I really would like to see what they could do with Armada. Just because it's not a direct sequel to Ready Player One, and it's not as on par with Ready Player One, but it's still a good book. I mean, God, I read the book just because we're here where we are, and then just for a laugh, I listened to the majestic voice of Will Wheaton doing it on audiobook, and he put so much joy into reading it. I thought I could listen to this all day, and ended up listening it to 2-3 days. But yeah. Ready Player One is my pick.
Okay, Joel, Pete, go on. What are you gonna give me for a Steven Spielberg film?
Okay, I'm gonna have to go for that classic, Raiders of the Lost Ark, the ultimate adventure film.
Wow.
We're gonna get into the argument now of would any of it actually happen if Indy just stayed home?
Yes, he didn't have to do a thing, and the result would be exactly the same.
Not exactly. Because he saved what's her name?
Marion.
Thank you. Yes, he saved Marion, didn't he? So that was his intervention.
And the Ark would still be on that island, and it wouldn't be in Area 51.
True.
And it wouldn't be with top men. Right. Go on, Mark. What's your pick?
Oh, how cruel am I?
It depends.
Horrendously cruel can I be?
Do you know what? Be as cruel as you want. Go on.
Okie dokie then. I'm going to make you watch The War of the Worlds.
Oh.
You bastard.
You told me. What did I do? I gave you an out. I gave you an out. It was between...
I remember watching that in the cinema, and obviously I was like, it's all right. I wasn't a big fan of it. And then but a few of my friends I was with, they were like, oh, this is such a good film. It's Tom Cruise. It's so brilliant. And I was like, hang on. I said, have you actually ever heard the original War of the Worlds? I said, have you actually listened to the Jeff Wayne? No, you haven't. No. All right. This is something you guys are going to be taught. And they're like, nah, fuck you, man. I ain't listening to that shit. Right. This is the one I'm dreading there. Matt Geary, what are you going to give me?
Ooh. That's going to have to be a war film, I think. And I'm not going to go for Saving Private Ryan. Warhorse.
Oh, I haven't seen Warhorse either.
Warhorse. It makes you cry.
Yeah.
That's a great tagline.
Yeah.
It makes you cry.
Well, talking about films that make you cry. The other day, like I am really a sucker for anything where animals get hurt and stuff. And I was watching A Dog's Purpose the other day. I watched. I swear to fucking God, man, that film is literally a dog dying over and over and over again. It's fucking horrible. It's like I understand it's meant to have a good message, but all I was seeing was this dog dying like over and over again, and I was literally crying from 5 minutes into the very end of it. And it was just like, why is this still happening? Why would you do this to me?
I bet you cried like a bitch during Homeward Bound then.
Oh man, I literally went and gave my dog a massive hug afterwards. I got off and I'm sitting there lying down, hugging my dog, and my dog's going, what the fuck? And I was like, don't go.
What's wrong with my human?
Yeah, he's just like, what are you doing? FYI, if I have to run off quickly, it's because the bear dogs escaped. But yeah, he's on guard at the minute.
The bear dog.
Have you seen the dog?
Sequel to Inglourious Bastards.
That's right. The thing is, the last podcast we had was just before I bought him, so nobody's seen my Tibetan Mastiff Boromir. On the podcast, so he's like 20 months old now, and I love him to bits, but he's hard work. he's hard work. They are smart, stubborn dogs, and yeah, it's they're characters, very much characters.
Wait, you talk about crying. Who watched the Sarah Jane funeral live casting they did last week?
Oh God.
None of us.
Sorry, nope.
No, I did see it. The thing is, when the Sarah Jane Adventures, obviously the last series of it was shown after Elizabeth Slater's death, and I remember watching that last episode because that last episode wasn't exactly that emotional, But it was the idea. This was the last time seeing Sarah Jane Smith, and it kind of hit me, and I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, what am I doing?" So it's I think this is a character, because I didn't get into Doctor Who until the revival in 2005. I then watched all the back series, and Sarah Jane Smith, her stories, especially with John Pertwee, really got me. I really enjoyed them. They were just some of the best episodes of Doctor Who altogether. And then when Tom Baker took over again, continued. Was it Hand of Fear? Her last one was probably one of the greatest stories, and has one of the funniest endings as well. When Doctor goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop you off home now." Yeah, where did he drop her off? Oh, no, nowhere near Croydon. Dropped her off at Aberdeen.
Actually,
But, yeah, and then was it the school reunion episode?
Yeah.
So at that time, obviously, I clued up on Sarah Jane. Obviously, knew a lot about the character. And then when I watched that episode, when you actually see her realise, oh, this is the Doctor, part of me just went, oh my god, I now know how me, if I was living in the 70s, would feel watching her right now. It's like, wow, it's and then then that whole bit with Sarah Jane in the last few days was, like kind of been on a bit of a horrible emotional roller coaster.
And then we were saved by the Red Dwarf having a fantastic special.
Oh, that was good episode.
I haven't watched Red Dwarf since it left, normal TV and stuff. I've not watched the Dave stuff.
I tried.
It's
once.
good. It's really good.
This was probably the most emotional episode they've done as well. It was still funny, but some of the subject matter, especially like when it gets to like existentialism, it's hard to watch. It's like, I don't expect this from a sitcom, but I couldn't turn away from it.
But it's always had that element to it.
Oh,
and it's always been there. I mean, that is nothing new to Red Dwarf.
Oh yeah, but it was the level in this episode when
True.
because obviously I if anyone is yet to watch it, because it's only obviously been out for a few weeks, just the interactions between Lister and Rimmer within the last 20 minutes of the episode is some of the hardest stuff to watch in that sitcom. If you think Red Dwarf is normally known for being a little bit silly, but yeah, there is some heart to it. There is obviously there's a great deal of morality and mortality to it, and it's not until, because I used to watch Red Dwarf when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it, but I never took in all the serious stuff. And then as I got older, I bought the box set, and I remember watching seasons 1 to 8, I think within a matter of 2 days. I just sat down and I just didn't stop the DVD player. I just played it through. And it really gave me this new appreciation for it. And then obviously watching the latest episode, it's like, my God, I probably have to say Red Dwarf is probably my favorite show, just because of it beats all expectations for what a sitcom, what a sci-fi show, and what a real human story really should be. And it comes from a silly little comedy that began, over 30 years ago.
I used to love Red Dwarf, I really did, but I think I watched one episode. David didn't have a laugh track or something, and
that was Back to Earth.
Yeah,
that wasn't good.
It just felt really weird, and I was just like, and I just haven't watched it since. So
about the same as me, actually. I must admit, it just I couldn't bring myself
right.
together.
Subsequent seasons of Red Dwarf and Dave have been really good, really, really good, to the point where I've been absolutely laugh out loud on the floor with laughter.
I think one of my favourite ones, especially of the Dave episodes, there was one called Give and Take, where they go on this hospital ship, and Lister basically has his kidneys removed, and during the shootout, his kidneys are accidentally destroyed, so they try to find a way to keep him alive, and they come up with the idea, we'll go back in time, we'll steal his kidneys from Lister after they've been taken out and give them to Lister now. Which obviously makes sense. But the one thing that got me was the robot, because obviously they're trying to look for this doctor robot, this high-tech piece of equipment, and they find this one, which they think, he's very kind, he's very friendly, this must be the robot we're looking for. It turns out he's a snack droid. He actually just dishes snacks out, and it's just so it's just so hilarious when they eventually work it out. He goes, yeah, what, you really want me to help you with this? Yeah? You really want to know who I am? Yeah? I'm Snacky, the snack droid. So... But that to me, that was pure classic Red Dwarf all the way through.
Well, considering what Lister used to do for a living.
Oh, for me, it was Lemons, where they go back in time.
Lemons was good.
And basically, like, they meet Jesus.
Oh, God, no.
But it's not the Jesus they think it is. It's just another guy called Jesus.
It just happens to be there at the same time.
My favorite
Exactly.
Red Dwarf, I think my favorite Red Dwarf episode is the one when they're I think is it the squid gets them and they think they're in this
Spare squid.
Back to reality.
yeah, that one. That's one of my
That
favorite
is so
episodes.
good.
So good. Yeah, really good.
Please, sir, I've already eaten how many of your bowls of raw coffee?
Oh, that's the other one, the Gunmen of the Apocalypse.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
When they're in the virtual reality game. That is a classic its own. No, Joe, because I've been rewatching Red Dwarf because it helps with the whole isolation thing. And I just think I'd love to have a hologram friend and a robot and a guy who's evolved from my pet. That would be quite fun. No, I've been rewatching, and the quarantine episode I think is still so much fun. Goes, yes, what, you like to come on a trip to Munchkin Land with me? It's like, yes, of course we do. So let me tell you this: I'm sitting in front of you in a dress with pigtails, with a sock puppet in my hand, and you want to come to Munchkin Land with me, and you're saying that you're actually sane. It's like it's just such great writing in Red Dwarf, and it's something that does hold up so well after all these years.
Yeah. A few messages. MJE420 on Twitch has said, "Stream looks awesome. How did you make the background?" Well, this is not me. I didn't design it. It's a thing called Nerd or Die. And it's just a template, and it looked awesome, and it's got all kinds of cool things that you can do with it and stuff, which we probably won't be using, but there you go. It was like $20 or something like that, and here we have it. It's all sorted and stuff. So much so that I'm trying to use it in work. I'm trying to use things like this for using for getting, like, because obviously everybody now has to sort of do online meetings and things like this, and we do. I work for solicitors as my main job and stuff, and they want to do sort of mock trials and things like that. And it's like, good idea. Let's use OBS, and I've got these cool sort of like things we can make it look professional and stuff. And they're a bit like, you're a bit of a nerd, but
Geek.
But yeah.
It's amazing how the world has carried on considering lockdown, and
I think there's going to be changes. I think there's going to be. I know in my work they have said that they're going to let people work from home more often, and that the whole paperless thing works. I think they're going to realize that, they've found that productivity. Apparently, they found that productivity has gone up since people, because for me, it's like I don't have to get up out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I don't have to sort of I can get up at like 8:45 and have a shower and then get downstairs and I'm done.
Just say you ain't even got to get dressed for work.
Yeah,
and easy.
I walk my dog, and I I'll even work late because I'm sitting there. And I don't have to get a train, so it'll take me an hour. I don't have to deal with the public and things, and so I'm happier just to sit here and do a bit more because, well, it doesn't matter. I think that's a good thing. So I think we'll see some changes going forward. How long this is going to last for, I have no idea, man. I don't think we're going to see. I don't think we're going to see pubs and clubs and things like that opening until at least the end of the year, maybe next year.
Yeah,
and offices like mine where you can, remote working is a thing you can do. They'll be one of the last set of people to sort of be back. I think they'll gradually do it on an immunity / if you've had an injection or if you can prove that you're immune, fine, you can go out and about. But
the problem is, how do you prove that?
Well, it's going to have to be.
How do you prove that you are immune?
Yeah, but they've also said that even if you have the injection with like the antibodies and whatnot, it doesn't actually make you immune to it.
No, because there's multiple strains, and they're still trying to figure out if it will confer immunity. Because even with some of the other coronaviruses, even if they do give you limited immunity, it's only for a short period. It's not permanent anyway, so they.
So is it a cold?
Literally...
It's effectively like a cold then.
Common cold. Yeah.
So we're never going to get rid of it. It's something that we have to basically deal with and work around.
Yeah.
And also, the first wave is always the worst because our bodies do not have any experience with this type of virus. So subsequent waves are going to be less severe.
Unless it follows the
based on
pattern of the
current
Spanish flu.
Unless it
follows the
mutates.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say with Spanish flu is that considering the time we live in now, because we've got such great communication, we can relay messages so well. You got to think in that time, communication was not great at all. So you could have someone who probably didn't even know they were ill, didn't even think about, or maybe I should keep away from people. They go to a village or something, they pass it on to 100 odd people. That 100 people then pass it on. And, I think social distancing is going to be what obviously stops the Spanish flu.
Have you met that Prime Minister recently?
I have. He's a bit of a prick.
We're just not going to go into politics.
Do you know even more?
We don't want to start Matt off.
If you want to see comedy, just watch some of Donald Trump stuff. What he's been saying, injecting disinfectant into yourself.
I think they should do it.
I said this.
I think he should do it, and it's a really good idea. And anybody
lead
who
by
else
example.
wants, lead by example. And anybody who wants to inject himself with disinfectant, work away. I think you should do it.
Yeah.
I said this. I said this exactly after he went on his little speech and said it. I said, I guarantee you now, the entire population of Texas and Tennessee is going to drop dramatically because you'll have all those go, I'm going to do it.
Well, the next day in New York, didn't they
Gay
have
Pride does not
30?
endorse the savage beating of certain states in the United States. I have friends in Texas. Thank you very much.
Okay, bar those people.
What I love.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. What I love is that about just a month beforehand, on the 25th of March 2020, The Onion put up an article saying, man just buying one of every cleaning product in case Trump announces its coronavirus cure. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of like the Simpsons level shit going on there.
That's just it's absolutely insane, and that guy's nuts. Thing is, though,
he's mental.
The thing is, what you've got now, and we don't want to spend too much time talking about politics because we're not a politics show.
No, we'll get in trouble.
But it's just like the Americans now have the option between Donald Trump and a guy who likes to touch women inappropriately.
So that's what Donald Trump was doing anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I suppose one's less sort of dangerous than the other.
I bet the other guy saying, "Yeah, I'll take that bleach, swig it. I'm sure you'll be fine." I doubt they're going to say that. Well, they might do. I don't know.
Anyway, moving on from the politics side of things.
We need the American in the room to progress this conversation further. And since
where is Erin?
Yeah, where is Erin? Erin was about to join. She said she could join in. She's not here. She'd keep us safe. Yeah, wow. We've got no female representation. It's a sausage factory right here. No ladies.
Yeah, without the Gregs though, unfortunately.
Too many dicks.
Too many dicks.
I've been rewatching Flight the Conchords as well, and that episode came on, and I love them songs. They do keep me smiling.
It's business time. It's business time.
It's just too many dicks on the dance floor. Too many dicks. It's like just such a
God's sake.
Oh, hello. Okay, fair enough.
Was that got to go from Mark Canty?
Yeah, sorry about that. Real life gets in the way.
Okay. Well,
take care, man.
Yeah, goodbye,
Enjoy,
Mark.
people. I'll catch you on the flip side.
Yeah, I'll remember you next time.
yeah, you do that.
That's the real reason he's going. He's like, this bastard didn't remember me.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. We'll get you next week.
I'll get you next time, Gadget.
See you later.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay, moving on. Has everybody seen the new series of Altered Carbon?
No, not yet.
Yes, I have.
No.
It's on my list. It's on my to-do list.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you not? What did you?
It's so.
You've obviously read the books. I haven't read the books.
Oh yes.
So I'm assuming it deviates somewhat.
It's a mishmash of Woken Furies and the second book, Fallen Angels. Basically, you've got essentially the plot of the third book with some of the characters from the second book, and it deviates quite a bit, not necessarily for the better. And I think basically the original actor in the first season of Altered Carbon was much closer to the portrayal in the book. Yeah, I mean, Joel Kinnaman, that was it, has that lockdown fury that Takeshi Kovacs has, whilst the new actor, who's, again, I'm going to please forgive me, I can't remember his name. But
he played Falcon. What was his name?
Exactly.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie. He was perhaps a bit too emotional for the role. He needed to be a bit more that lockdown intensity, which you kind of expect from the character. But
I don't know the books, so I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was as good as the first season. So it's got a good twist at the end and stuff. So I quite enjoyed it, to be honest.
Joel Kinnaman, he does kind of have that kind of robotic.
Well, he did play RoboCop.
Yeah, I was about to but
no,
yeah,
his most robotic part is in Suicide Squad.
Oh, it's Rick Flag.
This is Katana!
Yeah.
I'd advise not getting cut by her. Her blade traps the sword of its victims. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Suicide Squad.
I didn't mind it, but he was very...
Everybody hates it, but I thought it was alright.
I like Suicide Squad because, to me, it's probably one of the more faithful DC adaptations in regards to the films that have come out. The only thing I don't like... Well, there's a few things. But I think they emphasise too much on Deadshot and Harley Quinn. And I know they are the two highlight characters, but really... They should have given a bit more time to Captain Boomerang, because Jai Courtney is actually bloody good in that part. Viola Davis should have got some more screen time. And even more importantly, Ben Affleck's Batman, I think he's really good, but he's in it for a total of about 60 seconds. They should have made him an actual supporting character in that film. And they could have just got rid of Joker.
Yeah.
Well, we know my thoughts on Ben Affleck's Batman. I thought he was great, and I'm gutted that he's not going to be.
I think he was fantastic.
I just, I'll be interested. I'm not going to judge Sparkly Vampire Man.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
I think he dislikes the franchise just as much as you do.
Yeah.
So
I'm not going to judge it because
he has some good acting chops.
Yeah.
I will give him that. And
he
Lighthouse.
He didn't play. He played the Dauphin in Henry V, the Netflix film, and it was naff, and that it was like a really bad sort of French accent, Whereas the guy, I can't remember the name of the actor who played Henry V, actually spoke French, and because I think he's like a half French, half American actor, but he actually spoke French, whereas him playing the Dauphin, he was just like going, "I am French. I speak like this." Right.
Obviously, he was doing he's like he's taken from Monty Python.
Yeah, it's just like, but yeah, I'm not going to judge it, but I just think Ben Affleck, and I've mentioned this many times in previous podcasts, Ben Affleck as Batman was amazing. I really enjoyed him. He is, for me, how Batman should be. And I just thought it was a shame that he got such a bashing, and it's because of it wasn't because of a bad character, it was because of bad script writing. And Justice League was definitely that nail that threw it all out for me. And the thing is as well, you can see he wasn't prepared to play Batman in that movie. He should have really had about a good 3 or 4 months to prep, and it was like, as soon as Batman v Superman was out in cinema, they're like, yeah, we're starting Justice League filming in about 2 or 3 weeks. He was not ready. And it's not just him. You can see that most of them actors, I think, apart from Jason Momoa, everyone else was not in the top shape for it. They were not prepared to get into that rigorous filming. Like I said, we've said again many times, DC, They rushed it. They rushed a series of films. They should have just played the long game, like Marvel did. Started off with, Man of Steel. Again, people have different views on that. I thought it was amazing. I loved it, and they should have slowly, gradually built up. Had a Batman film. Had things like this. The newest Aquaman was pretty good, amusing. You know, they could still build it up. You know, there's a lot. The Flash was in the Flash series. That I haven't seen it yet because I don't have Sky at the minute. But you know, I've seen the thing, so I think, you know, they could build that up. They could have built that up and had a Justice League film that was as good as the Avengers film, but they rushed it.
The thing is, though, is people saying about the rushing. Yeah, I think they did kind of try and play catch up. But if you look at the timelines, Man of Steel and Justice League, and compare that to Iron Man and Avengers, there's actually a bigger gap between Man of Steel and Justice League than there was between Iron Man and the first Avengers film, by about half a year. So they did actually have, but there was a massive gap because Man of Steel was June 2013, then Batman v Superman was March 2016. So if they had at least one film in between to start establishing some of these characters, I think we would have had a massively different turnout. And
I agree. It was just because they
released the Snyder Cut.
Yeah, they just did this whole thing, and I remember the SDCC announcement, and they had that the quote from the cartoon, you know, about Batman, where I can't remember what he says, but basically beating Superman, you know, and they quoted it, and I was like, oh, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be so good. And when it came out, I enjoyed it, but you know, there were multiple holes. Batman as Batman was brilliant. Henry Cavill, I still think is one of the best Superman. I love him. I think he's great. I can't do any wrong for me. Henry Cavill's like he's like this. It's like Sean Bean and him are pretty close now, especially because he does Warhammer 40k stuff as well. So he likes to paint toy soldiers. So he's up there with me. It's just like, oh, Sean Bean and Henry Cavill, my man crushes at the minute. So yeah. But yeah, I think we've waxed lyrical about DC films for, you know, many podcasts, and it's always the same thing. We just have to wait and see. I've seen some of the screenshots for the new Batman. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, the Joker. Talk about Joker was really good. Everybody loved the Joker. It was a good film. Completely. Not a super villain film, more a psychological thriller,
a psychological character piece. Not unlike Taxi Driver.
Yeah, similar, very similar. Yeah, and you know, just very evocative, emotive, and it was just sort of, you could see. Like, I did a review about it, and it was just like, you know, you could just see, he was struggling with his disability and his you know, his mental state. And he was trying his best, but society just didn't care, and they created him effectively.
Yes. Society is the enemy.
Yeah, society created him, and then, you know, that's it. And it's just sort of, you know, it's good. Though there was a lot of people kicking off because they used a Gary Glitter song, and it didn't.
But the thing is, as soon as that started playing that song, straight away I was like, oh shit, I know this track, and I was like, why have they got this in? But the horrible thing is to say, it works with that part of the movie.
Here's a question for you then. Does music or any art piece, because I was being very thespian about it. I was listening to Radio 4, and they were discussing something similar. Does music, art, or something similar to that, films, does it cease to be a good film, or it cease to be a good piece of music or piece of art if the person who created it is a paedophile, or is a murderer, or is
well, I was thinking this about probably one of the more prolific stories of the last few years, Kevin Spacey. After obviously everything came out about him and Anthony Rapp, was it? There was this whole feeling of, oh god, you know, what does everyone now feel about Kevin Spacey? Because he'd just finished season 5 of House of Cards, probably the biggest Netflix show at the time. They were about to get onto season 6, and all of a sudden they're like, nope, we can't have him in this. So they basically cut him out straight away. And then even better was the Ridley Scott film, or was it All the Money in the World, where he was basically cut out of the movie 6 weeks before it was due to be released. And not only that, he was not even the right age of the character he was playing. He was in heavy prosthetic and makeup. And the original actor, who was apparently considered, Christopher Plummer, was then called up and went, yeah, do you want to be in the film now? We're reshooting it. And And this is a thing which I think has really taught me something about cinema, is that you see a lot of these films, they get delayed for 6 months, a year, year and a half, whatever, because they go, oh, we need to work on it, we need to refocus. But this is something that was in 40 days. They cast a new actor, they reshot scenes, they then cut it, mix it together, and they had it in the cinema. Now, where do we stand on cinema now when we think that anything can happen and something can be changed almost instantly? And then there is other situations where, I think another reason to go on about this is probably Justice League. If you look at back in July, August of 2017, they were doing reshoots and they were still pushing for November 2017 to get that film out. And that film was a mess when you look at it. And you can see where they've literally taken the original cuts of the film and it's like, yeah, let's put in this, let's put in that, let's put in whatever. And I just feel this is going to be a dangerous trend in cinema. And I understand with the actor in terms of Kevin Spacey, going back to All the Money in the World, they had to do it. With House of Cards, obviously, they had to remove him. But when you're saying about if you can watch these films, if you can still enjoy them, I've got to be honest, I've not watched a Kevin Spacey film since then. I don't know about it because
I think it
Usual
leaves
Suspects.
it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, doesn't it? It's just like I used to like the Lost Prophets, and then now it's not like I have anything against the rest of the band. It's just like I just can't. As much as I used to quite enjoy their songs, I just can't. I can't. And
When,
I can't even. They're still on Spotify and stuff, and I appreciate that there is more to that band than that monster.
Yeah.
But it's like I can't do it, and it's the same with the game. I haven't watched a Kevin Spacey film in a long time. Pantera, I used to love when Phil Anselmo went off on that big racist rant and stuff. That sort of made me not really want to listen to as much Pantera, and it's just like And then, I think there's more to it. The person
poisons it. I think that this is it. As much as you want to appreciate the art, you want to remember, you want to enjoy what you had before. You feel that this one factor has pretty much destroyed it. And I think the thing you say about Lost Prophets as well holds very well because I've got to say about this. 2012, I was at the Warped Tour in London. They were doing I think Lost Prophets was headliner and Bowling for Soup were the other headliner. They were both playing at the same time, but both in different parts of Alexandra Palace. And obviously I had to choose what band I want to go and see. Do I go and see Bowling for Soup or do I go and see Lost Prophets? And I was like, no, Joe, I'm going to go and see Bowling for Soup. So I went into that room, went to obviously watch them. And then at one point, Bowling for Soup just stopped and Jarrett, the lead singer, just goes, now let's have a chance to listen to Lost Prophets. And the whole room was just like, boo, boo, they fucking suck, boo. And it was like, yeah, that's a bit mean. But I thought, obviously you're not Lost Prophet fans, that's fine. And it was literally 2 weeks later, the whole story came out about Ian Watkins. It was like, oh, shit. I'm glad I didn't go and see him now.
Going back to the Kevin Spacey thing, I can honestly hold my hand up and say I can watch only 2 films that have got Kevin Spacey still in them, only because the main cast in it overshadow anything about him in the films, and that's Horrible Bosses 1 and 2. Because the comedic performances from the main guys are just amazing, and it completely overshadows anything Kevin Spacey does in those films, and they are probably the only 2 I can watch. I mean, I used to fucking love American Beauty. It was a phenomenal film. Now I just can't watch it because he's there. But yeah, Horrible Bosses 1 and 2. Every single time I can watch it and not have to worry about his fucking face, because in 2 he's in jail anyway. Yeah. So at least
did he actually get jail time? Did he actually get jail time?
In real life?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
I don't think so. No, I think he got
questioned by US police, and then he was questioned by UK police as well about a week after.
Yes, I think I think you got a slap. I think you got like the celebrity slap on the wrist, and then what they class him as, he's black marked. He's completely blackballed. So there's that.
We got Mark back again. We got Mark back.
Yes.
I had to be domesticated for a bit.
All right. Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That sounds
Welcome
like
back.
some kind of kinky middle class punishment. Had to be domesticated.
No, insane cats.
That sounds even worse.
It's interesting with Kevin Spacey because, like, I'm sort of a similar version where there are only kind of two films that I would want to watch. The first is A Bug's Life, because that is sort of like a thing from my childhood. I watched that. He's Hopper. He's the main bad guy. And it's kind of like one of those weird sort of childhood movies. So it's like, I enjoyed this as a kid. A little bit of nostalgia. The second one is Baby Driver, and that's just because I love Edgar Wright, and I think that overshadows.
That is a good film.
Like, it's a classic film. It really is. And the soundtrack and the use of and the way everyone uses everything in there, plus the obvious, The Usual Suspects.
Yeah, that is a great film. But same, like, you know, Baby Driver. I think that was out just a few months before all this stuff came out about him. And I remember I watched Baby Driver in cinema, and when it was coming up for its DVD release, I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch it again. And I think it was literally all his stuff came out the week before the DVD came out. And I just remember going on Amazon, I was like, right, I'm cancelling that now. I don't want to watch that. And do you know, it sounds bad. As much as I don't want to watch Kevin Spacey stuff anymore, I do still have The Usual Suspects, and I've still got Seven, because he ain't really in Seven much anyway. I've still got them sitting pride of place in the middle of my DVD collection, because I don't know, I just don't have the heart to throw them out. As much as I don't want to watch Kevin Spacey, I feel that I will probably go back to it one day if I can find a way to maybe superimpose another actor into his part. Yeah.
Well, it was the same lines of what Matt was saying about the music in Joker with Gary Glitter's music. I felt sorry for the NHL because every time a team scores a goal, that's the song they play over the tannoy. Every single time every time a puck is in the net, that's the tune they play. So you think the NHL are going, fuck?
Yeah, they probably don't know who he is, to be
honest. In America,
oh, they know.
Glitter is known, but I think in terms of like music, I don't think they have to pay him royalties if they use his music. I think any song royalties go to charity now. So imagine that every time it's like a big middle finger to Gary Glitter, but we're helping actual causes that need that money.
Yeah, that's good. That's all right. Yeah.
Moving on.
It's just a tough one, isn't it? Because I think if it's, it's not like I would not actively, if Kevin Spacey was in a film and it was on, I wouldn't just turn it off. I refuse to watch this because he's a pervert, whatever. It's just like, but there's certain things I do like. I can't listen to Lost Prophets anymore. I struggle with with Pantera now and stuff, and it's just like, I don't. I don't know. It's just something you feel. I think it's something you feel inside, and I don't want to. Each to their own, because I'm not saying you shouldn't listen to these things or you shouldn't watch these films.
No,
so it's completely up to you and stuff. It's just.
I agree. I agree. Lost Prophets I've not listened to since obviously all that happened, and I do actually remember me and one of my friends. We took our Lost Prophet albums and we literally slung them, like we threw them against a wall. It was just like, yep, that's it, they're done. And it was like, oh shit, we better clean this up now. It was like that brief bit of rebellion. It's like, yes, we're getting rid of this. It was like, oh damn, it has actually shattered all over the place. Right, grab the broom.
It's like when Enya, she did a thing on Saturday Night Live, I think, was it, where she instead of singing one of her songs, she basically did an anti-religious thing.
Sinead O'Connor.
That was it. Sorry, yeah, Sinead O'Connor. Yeah, sorry, yes. Sinead O'Connor, and like loads of people like literally went ballistic and started like rolling over her CDs with steamrollers and stuff like that.
The thing is that Sinead O'Connor at that time, she was slowly going up on the US charts, and then after that performance, because the Saturday Night Live, they were predicting if her performance went well, she was going to be number one. They thought her new album was going to hit straight at the top of the US charts. And then after that happened, sales were about 1/5 of what they should have been.
Oh.
They really did shoot down, and that's
Well, yeah.
partly why her career really suffered because, well, obviously because it was a good thing for her to do anyway, but because of how lackluster her performance was in the charts after that album, she kind of just went into obscurity. She has actually made music still, and some of her latest albums actually are quite good.
I think it's more principle over anything. She obviously had a principle. You know, I don't know if I would have had the balls to rip up a picture of the Pope on Saturday Night Live.
But obviously now she has converted to Islam.
Yeah, that's bizarre. Yeah, just very bizarre. But there you go. We all do things in our younger age, which we regret. But I guess.
Yeah, I thought there was a story coming there.
No, there's lots of stories. My life is just one. I'm 38 years old, nearly 39, and it's just like I've just finished rewatching How I Met Your Mother for the third time or something. Yeah, I am effectively Ted Mosby, and I haven't got that end part yet. I'm just getting through the whole bad long list of girlfriends and things. We'll see what happens.
I remember when How I Met Your Mother first came out, and a friend of mine messaged me about it, saying, "Oh, we should watch this show." I was like, "Oh, why is that?" He went, "Oh, because this will probably be what you're like." Oh, thanks. He went, "Oh, because you're quite a creative guy. Most of your friends are with partners. You're alone." I went, "Oh, cheers." I was like, "Oh, thanks for that." And I said, "Why? What character are you?" There, he went, "Oh, obviously I'm Barney." I went, "What? So you're smothered in STDs, are you?" Right, yeah. But then as I got through How I Met Your Mother, and as I got a bit older, I was like, shit, maybe I'm a little bit like Ted Mosby, and I don't really want to admit, like going out with girls that I think are the one, and maybe it's not gonna go well, and I did actually contemplate at one point doing like a little diary, just going yeah, this is like to the future kids, going, yeah, yes, I want to tell them a story of me meeting your mother, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Fucking hell, ain't that bad. But then part of me kind of wishes I did, because I kind of put a thing down, because obviously Tim Mosby's story starts from when he's 27, and I put down in the book saying, kids, when I was 27, I met your mother, and I'm now with my long-term partner since I was 27. So I was like, damn, I really should have kept that book. Would have really been a good little punchline for the possible wedding if I survive till then, because if she listens to this, she'll kill me.
Oh, doomed.
We're all doomed. But yeah, this is nothing as well. But since we've been in lockdown, all the TV shows that have been going on, all the rewatches, I actually started rewatching The Simpsons almost from the beginning as well, because Disney Plus has got 30 seasons for you to watch.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I've rewatched Big Bang Theory again, and I've rewatched How I Met Your Mother. I think I'm going to go into Scrubs next.
Oh yeah, because Scrubs is coming on all four, I think, next week. So all the series.
I think it's on Amazon as well, Amazon Prime at the minute. So I'm just going to go for Scrubs and stuff. So
we just finished The Good Place.
All right,
I love that show.
That is absolutely brilliant.
Probably
Good Place.
Probably one of the best finales as well I've seen for a long time.
Really well done. It's basically a treatise on ethics and morality disguised as a sitcom.
You can tell Pete's a writer because he used the word treatise he used the word treatise in a sentence.
Well, I'm verbose and loquacious.
When you use such big words here.
Give that man a triple word score.
That's what he's got the Scrabble board next to him. He's going to go, right, what word am I picking next?
I wish I've been trying to get into more shows, but it's just sort of like been at the moment dividing either between playing Animal Crossing, New Horizons. It's surprisingly addictive. I love it to bits. It's an excellent distressor. And tuning in to turn this sort of like in a different, slightly geeky direction, watching the live streams of old productions put on at the National Theatre and the Globe Theatre. And I think I was convinced to watch one of the musicals, Jesus Christ Superstar, because it was Easter. But yeah, the National Theatre, they put on a couple and have extended their run. They've done the 4 that they were going to do, and are now doing their Frankenstein production next week. Oh,
yeah, that's the one with Benedict Cumberbatch and Johnny Lee Miller, and they do one night in one role and the other, and then they switch it the next night.
I've seen the advert for that. Yeah.
I saw that in the cinema actually, and I thought it was bloody good.
So yeah, that's going to be Thursday night, showing up on their YouTube channel. And the Globe, I predicted that they would sort of like go, oh dear God, look at how popular this thing is getting. We got to get in on this, and have put stuff on BBC iPlayer. They're releasing one every fortnight on their YouTube channel, and it's just been good to because I've actually been going on digital dates.
Way.
It's been lovely. It's been lovely because we've watched the thing, texting all the while.
I think it's good. I think there's a lot less stress involved when you do stuff online than when I meet somebody and I'm dating. It's like, I talk shit already. But I talk a lot more shit when I'm meeting somebody and I'm nervous. I just like blah 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 blah, and I just go through my whole life story, and they just look at me like, "Holy shit!" Laura Hill says on Facebook, "Treehouse of Horror marathon." Treehouse of Horror.
Oh, Simpsons Halloween episodes.
Because
there are effectively 30 of them episodes now.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Save it for Halloween.
Could say for Halloween, but we are effectively living in a Halloween, so perfect timing.
Perpetual.
Another another cartoon I've been thinking of revisiting because I've got the box set. Funny enough, it's Beavis and Butthead. I don't know why, but I've been feeling like I really want to get back onto that because a guy that I work with every now and again. Because obviously, shortage of toilet paper and that. He goes wandering around. He goes, "I need tippy for my bunghole." Like, every time he says it, it cracks me up, and I'm just like,
"I am the great cornholio." I just remember the movie. I remember going to see the movie, and obviously the Red Hot Chili Peppers soundtrack for the movie. Love Roller Coaster. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Amazing.
Yeah. And I think this is the thing. I think a lot of people were. Watching, discovering, or maybe even rediscovering stuff that they would not have normally done, and I can't see that as a bad thing to a degree because it's nice to rediscover something you might have loved 5, 10, maybe 15 years ago. I mean, I've been looking at my box set of Heroes. I used to love Heroes, and then it went really shit. But I want to rewatch it again because I actually bought Heroes Reborn just to complete the set, not intending to actually watch it again because it was fucking terrible, but I want to rewatch it. I really do.
Wow,
first season's great. Everything else after that was...
The first season is probably one of my favourite seasons of TV of all time because it was really just so addictive.
I just really hate when TV does that. It's like I'm worried about Westworld because the first season was amazing, second season was good, but the third season
it's a little bit ropey.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just sort of like, not sure.
I mean, I can admit that I sort of watched the first couple originally. I kind of stopped, and I binged the first 2 seasons over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
and I've watched the first couple of season 3, and I'm kind of like, I'm really not sure at the moment, so I've kind of stepped away for a bit so I can build up a backlog. And I think I'll just like once it's finished, I'll watch it all together.
Yeah.
And then decide then because I'm not sure at the moment. It's still because they keep changing things up to try and be cool.
Somebody was talking before we started when I was messing around with things. Picard. People were talking about Picard. Now I haven't watched it yet, so
same here.
Is it watchable?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely brilliant.
Definitely. But it'll probably be better for you when you're binging it because I think the thing is that a lot of people who got themselves really twisted about it because they're watching it week by week, they're expecting it to be TNG, and it's not. I mean, the first 3 episodes alone are basically just like the old intro TV movie that they used to chop up. So watching everything together closer together, I think you'll probably get a better experience from it.
Yeah. Right.
It is very much a long form story told serially.
I will probably start that next week because my TV list is slowly drying up. But the show, I finished the show last week, which was probably one of my favourite shows I've ever got into, and that was Mr. Robot.
Oh, that was so good, man.
The
That's
last
good.
episode really, really fucked my mind over because I was so sure I knew how this was going to end, and then it just went crazy. It went real, and I actually thought, hang on, I thought this was like a psychological drama. Are we suddenly going to something science fictiony, or it's like well, I'm not saying more than that, but it was incredible, and I couldn't believe how much I loved this show as well, and I don't really think there was ever a bad episode. I just, and it was probably one of the A shows for quite a while where you have to watch every little detail. You can't shy away. You can't just look at your phone, look at some updates or anything. No, your face just has to be glued to that screen for every second, and I feel I was rewarded for my time.
Yeah, I mainlined the first season. I do need to catch up on the rest of it at some point. I think I'll have to start from scratch again, as you said, because otherwise I know I'll be missing stuff.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I haven't seen it all. I'm on the last season, but I haven't seen it all. But yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. And also, because I've been catching up on other things as well, American Gods, my favourite ever novel.
Yeah.
And I've just been getting through season 2 now.
Oh.
Season 2's been a bit of a slog, I will say that. But I've only got one more episode of season 2, and I'm hoping it picks up from where I'm watching at the moment. And I really hope season 3 is a massive improvement because, like I said, American Gods
It's had a rotating doors of showrunners and
actors.
Yeah.
Because, Gillian Anderson just kind of like after the first season, I'm gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
it's not helping. I mean, one big thing to me is there's no consequence for the actions of the characters in the wider world. I mean, a girl is running around who has risen from the grave, and no one actually comments, hey, there's a dead girl running around.
Well, it's like in John Wick, in the John Wick films, if you watch them, and I had kind of a theory on this, but it's like nobody seems to care that there's people getting killed left, right, and center and stuff. There might be like, oh my god, there's a car coming for us, but if somebody gets shot or something like that, they just seem to walk off. There's no, it's like an alternative reality where sort of like it's just not the norm.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's odd because, they'll sit there and do all these things and, nobody seems to give a shit, really. It's like that episode, it's like that one, John Wick 2, when is it Subway? They're basically shooting each other from across the thing and there's like bullets flying around and people are just sort of wandering around as it's normal, basically.
Oh god!
But I love the John Wick films. I think they're amazing.
They're very stylistic. Very stylistic.
Yeah. I remember the first time I didn't watch the first one, and then the second one was coming out in the cinema, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to watch this. I just don't know if it'll be good. And it was just on TV, and I watched it. I went, holy shit, this was amazing. That was fucking amazing. And I went straight out and watched the second one in the cinema. And when the third one came out, I was like, oh, loving it. And I love the fact that they're in days effectively, so they're one after each other, and you can see by the third one he's a bit more run down. He's a bit slower. He's a bit sort of
weary.
Yeah, and damaged, and I like that. I think that's really good.
Something similar, when the third one was coming out in cinemas, I thought, right, I need to watch this film. And I was with my parents, and so I sat my dad down and went, look, I know this kind of films you like. It's on Netflix. We are watching this. I had a brilliant time. It was...
It reminds me of John Woo a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
Distinct John Woo influences.
We went talking about making family watch films. My mother, God bless her, she is she's just not a nerd in any way, shape, or form. And she comes from like my family. My brother and sister, me, my father. We're all massive Lord of the Rings fans, big Star Wars fans. So we went to, when I got back last Christmas, was like, oh, we'll go and see the new Star Wars film. which was really good, a good swan song for the end
Yeah.
of the thing. You know, we'll go. That'll be another podcast.
Oh,
We're
no,
not going to
no.
talk about this now.
no.
We're not going to talk about this
No.
now. We're not going to get into this debate. We can talk about this on another episode.
You've already pulled the pin. You're holding it now.
No,
It's-
Yeah,
That's
it's
next.
only a matter of time.
This is for the
Basic-
next episode. No, John Joe, no.
Oh,
I'm gonna.
I hate you.
You're not allowed to talk about it now. We'll talk about it because it's gonna go on forever. Because you're gonna start and you're gonna get me started, and then it's just gonna be. It's gonna be another hour and a half. This is not a. This is not a Joe Rogan podcast.
This is,
It's not gonna
Rogue
go on
One
for
all over again.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It's gonna be Rogue One all over again. Anyway, it's just the anecdote where we went and we brought my mother. And so it's like me, my sister, my brother, my sister's husband, and my mother. And my mum was asleep within about 20 minutes and snoring halfway through it. And then she sort of kind of woke up and was just like, "Oh, yeah, I really enjoyed that." And then like missed half of the thing, and didn't understand why things were happening because she'd fallen asleep. But it was just like, you know, that's just what she does. We brought her to see Batman versus Superman, I think, and she fell asleep through half of that too. You know, it's like.
Blessing, maybe.
Yeah. But yes, we'll do the Star Wars thing another day because that is a can of worms that, you know.
I don't know.
Can be
It may
open.
have been less soured now that sort of like you can also talk about the finale of Clone Wars as it's happening with Disney Plus.
Yeah,
It's
well,
true.
yeah.
I do think that does make a big difference now. Having watched Rebels and now watching that and seeing how that whole bridge around everything works, I think it feels more well-rounded. At least the first 2/3, if not the last third.
everything's connected.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make it a bit more sort of cohesive, aren't they, and stuff. I'm still not sure if I'm okay with The Last Jedi, but yeah,
No, I'm not.
I just my friend Russell, when we went to see it together and stuff, and we both came out kind of going, "What the fuck was that? What? That's like our childhood ruined." But
You're doing this on purpose now.
no,
I love The Last Jedi.
I know.
Yeah.
And then he said to me, he says, "Look, you have to go back and watch it again, and then think about this, that, you know, again, and for another podcast." But it was just like, all right. I've watched it once. It's the only Star Wars film I've only watched once, and I'm struggling to sort of. I came out of it with a sour taste in my mouth. So we'll see. But again, that's for another podcast, another time when we can go off and that, and me and Mr. Cosgrove can butt heads on
I
it.
keep a hold of
gives
that
me something
grenade.
to look forward to now, you know.
Yeah. Okay. I think we're going to leave that there. We've had a few technical difficulties. Matt forgot that Mark was on the podcast for a bit, and but yes,
I hate you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mark. But yes, it's been good to get back in the proverbial saddle again, and thank you to everybody who has been watching and has commented. We will be back hopefully next week. We'll try and figure out what day is going to be the best for us. We should really have it on a specific day, but we're all in lockdown, so I guess it doesn't really matter at this moment in time.
Each day's the same.
Yeah, each day is the same. So
It's always Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday anyway, isn't it?
Yeah. So we'll do that. We might even do a virtual drinks one where we're just, you know, getting drunk and shooting the shit. Or we might do a
It
dungeon.
won't be virtual drinks.
Yeah. Well, we'll do virtual pub. We did a virtual pub with my friends the other day, which was quite enjoyable. We might even do a Dungeons and Dragons thing or something, but, you know, lots of other things. Anyway, but thank you very much for everybody for joining up. Thank you to my co-hosts for joining me. Daniel.
Thank you very much for having me.
Peter.
See you next time.
Mark.
Well met, friends.
Josh. Oh, is Josh gone? Josh is gone. Where'd Josh go?
He's gone to the toilet. That's what it is. We did tell him not to take
The
the.
level of professionalism here.
Is he
amazing.
gone?
We did tell him not to take the headset with him, so he probably has gone toilet without it. Fingers crossed.
I think he's gone now, man. But yeah.
It's just that if in the background you could just hear him going.
Have you seen that thing? Is it like
when he comes back and he's like, guys?
Is it? Have you seen that thing? It's like the woman. Is it like the Welsh Assembly or something, or some council meeting or something?
Yes.
And it's a guy goes off with his microphone still on and takes a shit.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's sitting there trying to talk to these people, and his microphone's still on. All he hears him going.
I can still hear you, and I'm still
Oh,
here.
there he is. Were we correct though?
No, I was
Ah.
sitting here thinking, why are you still on mute, you piece of shit?
Right, so goodbye from Josh.
Oh, well, it's fucked it now, isn't it?
And goodbye from John Joe.
And next time we shall have the big Star Wars debate.
Yeah, we'll have the big Star Wars. So I've been back, Geary. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, and good night.